You know, Charlie,
You know how excited I am for this conversation.
there's something about a full moon that always gets me. Okay? What about you? Do you have a mood?
I have a mood because, you know, with quarantine, we were just sitting up in our rooms. A little too much for me, but we had playlists from iconic artists like the one we're going to talk to today to hold us down forever. And I do stress the iconic.
Yes.
Corey, who's here?
You know, I was about to be like, Brandy, motherfucking Brandy.
That worked.
I got really excited, but y'all, please welcome the incomparable Brandy.
Hey.
I'm sorry, Brandy. I got really excited. I was just
Brandy. Hey, boo.
Hi. Hey.
How's it
Can
going?
you tell we're excited? Can you tell a little bit?
Yes.
We're gonna take it down a notch.
No, don't bring it down. I need that. You know, it feels amazing, the energy. So thank you for having me. Today is a good day, huh?
Good.
I mean, there's so much we can thank you for. Like when Corey and I were, you know, we do this part of the show where we break down the receipts. You know all about the receipts.
Yeah.
And we have to start with the receipts because we give all the roses, right? And when we say iconic, we mean it because from TV to music. Corey, where do we start?
I listened to Babyface when he did an IG live about working on Waiting to Exhale. I don't know if you caught him that day. He had some good Wi-Fi, but this is what he said about you. Okay. He said, "Trust me, I've worked with so many singers over the years and the best, but this little girl was one of the best singers I had ever worked with then and seen. This is what he was saying of you back then. He's like, she's underrated and I don't think people appreciate her voice enough. I was so glad Whitney Houston said yes to Brandy being on Waiting to Exhale because she made a huge difference." And I'm like,
that's so sweet.
He took, he was talking
Where's
the whole
the lie?
time, but he has no lie. Like on Billboard, you have 2 number 1 hits, 7 top 10s. Then you gave us a whole character that we fell in love with named Moesha. Okay?
The braids look of a lifetime, the fashion, the trends, the first Black Cinderella. I mean, Brandy, when do you sleep?
And a Barbie doll.
A Barbie doll?
Wow. You know, I have to say that, you know, I've had such an amazing, you know, life, such an amazing career. I've been able to accomplish things I've never, you know, dreamt of accomplishing. And, you know, to be able to hear people like Babyface, to talk to people like yourselves, you know, just the love and the admiration and the support has just been unbelievable. And I'm very grateful. I'm so thankful that I am, you know, still here, still dreaming, still doing what I love to do. And just not tainted in any way, you know.
Yeah. And this is your now 7th studio album.
Yes.
B7. We are thrilled, right?
Artwork. Can we just take a moment? Take a moment. Let's just
a moment. Appreciation.
What was the inspiration? I mean, you look like Nefertiti. Like, what? It's beautiful.
Thank you. I got a chance to work with Derek Blanks, who's such an amazing photographer. And, you know, I've been on my African, you know, Black girl vibes, you know, as of late. And, you know, I just wanted to capture the essence of who I am, what I was feeling, you know, how pure the cover is. And, you know, also just always and forever inspired by Whitney Houston. So there's a moment in Bodyguard where she kind of has her hair in beads. And I kind of wanted to look like that a little bit, you know. Yeah.
You know, Corey and I were saying that with every artist, right, we know that every album is a love letter to something, someone, you know, a time, a moment, growth. Yeah. What is B7 a love letter to?
I would have to say B7 is a love letter to my higher self. This album is such a vulnerable, personal album for me. I took this time, you know, to use my music as a way to heal through some of the, you know, experiences that I've been through, and just through the music, I was able to be honest with myself and some of the things that I've gone through, and to come out on the other side and to finish it and to be proud of it, to just be honest through your art it's a blessing, so I'm glad it's finally done. I'm glad that it's here, and I'm glad that everybody gets to, hear it and vibe out to it, escape. I'm really excited about it. Nervous, but excited.
I want to go back to you just said, like, you have an album that you're proud of. And, we often quote Erykah Badu when she says, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. And we know that it's your first album in 8 years. Mm-hmm, so what was the journey for you to be satisfied to say, yes, I'm going to do this? I'm going to, like, what was that defining moment? Like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for my voice, not a feature. I'm ready for my voice to be there.
It took me a bit because, music is such it's so a part of me. And I'm the kind of artist that, I don't do music for anything but inspiration. I wanted this album to be, I approached it like, if this was my last project, if this was my last body of work, like, what would I want that to sound like? How much of myself would I put into it? And clearly I put all of me into it. And I went through a lot in those 8 years, a lot of loss, a lot of, ups and downs with love. I was also trying to get my music in a place where I could have a solid foundation for it to be able to release music that I could be, confident of where where it's rooted. And so it took a minute, but I can say that I was led. I followed my heart. I followed my that creative flow that you get when you're about to create something special. So I was very in touch with that, and I was able to write a lot and use music as my own poetry, and just all of that. It all came together, and divine timing. You can't beat that. When you feel that, you feel it, and you go with it.
What song on the album would you say is most representative of where you are right now?
Where I am right now, thinking of all the titles.
Yeah. And they're beautiful titles too.
So good.
Thank you. You know what? This album, it's a body of work that I've already experienced, that I've already come through. Mm-hmm. I would have to say just the album as a whole just represents me as a woman, as an artist. But a lot of the things that I speak about or sing about in the album, I've already come through. And, it's a way for me to look back and go, wow, I've overcome a lot, but it's a beautiful, work to tell, certain pieces of my story, and then others' stories as well.
Would you say you, as an artist, you have to wait until you've healed from something before you can sing that emotional song? Because that way you can just sing it and leave it on the stage.
Yeah.
Well, actually, for me, with this project, I used music as a way to get through a lot of the things that I was going through. Like, it was like my way of releasing. It was my way of escaping. And, one of the things Maya Angelou said that I love, she said, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story. So I wanted to wanted to just bear it all, because music was like my last resort to just express and get everything, out, and any toxic feelings that I felt, I was able to just release that, and hide behind the snares, hide behind the harmonies, and, and at the same time, come clean and tell such a special story for me. So I use music as that. But now when I listen back, it's not as difficult because I am through a lot of the things that I spoke about on this record. So
it's just beautiful, Brandy, to hear you talk about that, because when I think about so much of your music and what it means to women and how it helps us get through things, and we all know a good love song will just trigger that moment, that dude, that person that tried it, that heartbreak, right? And you so much, if not all of your music represents different points like that in my life, and it helped me get through things. So it's beautiful to hear that it can also be that for you.
Oh yeah. Like I feel like I can't really move anyone else unless I can move my own personal needle, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like people connect more when they feel like it's you are a part of it as well, you know.
Absolutely. And your sound, like we were so excited to hear this because you have this beautiful sound, it's signature sound that you've always had. I mean, it can go anywhere, it can any note, any range, but you as soon as you hear it, you know that's Brandy and you know what it's gonna feel like. But I love how on this album it's something new, it's something different, but you just continuously bring us that sound. Can you tell me about your process as an artist and how you ensure that it's always that authentic Brandy, even though it's continuously new?
Yes, that's you know, when you think of it on that level and in those terms, you know, I want to keep my sound, but I want to, you know,
Yeah.
of course, reinvent and evolve. You know, that can be difficult because, you know, you try to find it and you try to force it in a way. But for me, I just had to just say, you know what? Whatever is in my heart, that's what matters. That's what's going to come through. And then you surround yourself with people that get you and that respect your, you know, your previous work, that, you know, help you to stay true to who you are, but at the same time, not afraid to go outside of the box and, you know, try to sing different songs, different topics that may challenge you vocally. So for me, I always try to make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can with my instrument and exploring every possible range of emotion within myself, that I can share. You know, that's really important. And then also just understanding that I have a group of people who love me for this particular sound. So you want to include that. So, you know, it's definitely a process, but I definitely keep that in the forefront of my mind and in the back of my mind. So it kind of just happens naturally.
And speaking of that group, I know you've seen it. At least I hope you've seen it. There are literally Brandy appreciation days that that pop up all over Twitter and Instagram all the time. Have you seen them?
I haven't seen the Brandy appreciation days.
Yeah, people just set it off and be like, "It's Brandy Appreciation Day," and people will just post clip after clip of your a run or a moment or a performance or just like that, like you said, that vocal ability. And I was just curious if you've seen
I've never seen the appreciation days, but I've seen so much love. You know, I recently seen I was trending on Twitter. I had to call one of my, you know, friends that run one of the fan sites. I'm like, is everything all right? You know, what's going on? You know, but it was all positive, and it was like you said, it was a lot of clips and just a lot of love that was shown, and you know, that just feels amazing. It's a beautiful feeling to feel loved, to feel appreciated, you know, for what I do.
Speaking of love, the first song on the album, the new album B7, is Saving All My Love. Now, when I clicked on it, I thought, okay, she did Whitney. I get
Whitney.
it. But it's not.
Yeah.
But it's not. Well, but is it sort of like a tip to her? Like
it is definitely that. But it's so interesting. In the song, I say, you know, I'm kind of like the GOAT, and the GOAT to me is Whitney Houston, you know, so, you know, we have similarities, you know, I look up to her, but I'm not saving all my love for you. So that is,
like,
that's my paying homage, but I'm also saying, but I'm not quite the same, you know, when it comes to that song that she sang. But I love Saving All My Love. That's one of the songs I felt like so inspired. I went right in the booth and I just started singing what was on my mind and what was on my heart. And it turned out to be that. So, yeah.
You can feel that on the track, you know? And speaking of influence, there are so many singers that have emerged after you where it's clear you were the blueprint, you know, the inspiration. How does it feel to know that you've inspired a whole generation of artists and a sound?
I mean, I feel like that was always the goal, you know, even though when it was happening, when I was, you know, trying to master my craft and to try to, you know, find what was unique about me, you know, I didn't know at that time that it would cause, you know, such an influence, you know, because I hear so much of my inflections and things like that in so many different singers, and then so many great singers, they always find a way to let me know that, you know, I was, you know, a bit of an inspiration for them. And that feels amazing. So that was definitely the goal, even though I didn't know that, when it happened, it happened in that way. So, yeah.
Do you ever have a moment and you're like, they trying to sound like me? Because there's two singers right now. I won't say their names. I'll say after we start recording. But I'm like, if this girl don't talk trying to sound like Brandy.
I've had moments for sure where I'm like, ooh.
Great, you have on your shady turban today.
I have on my shady turban, but I'm just like, let Brandy live. Let Brandy live. One thing I want to say, before the announcement of B7, you kept me going with begging and pleading because I loved begging. I was like, where that song, I equate it to how I feel about Jill Scott's Crown Royal. Like, it's a song I can play over and over again. I'm like, it's not long enough. I need more. Like, I need a mood. I love that song. And then a few years later, I mean, really just recently, you partnered with Anderson .Paak, Jet Black, and then Love Again.
Love Again.
I'm so glad is on this album with Daniel Caesar. And when Charlie and I were prepping for the interview, I was saying that when those songs came out, it just reminds, like, I miss Brandy. I miss Brandy. And you know what I mean? So I just want to thank you.
Well, you know what, to be honest, I don't really know what's going on out there in the music world. I've just shied away from just knowing everything that's out there. So I've been blessed and fortunate enough for, an Anderson .Paak or Daniel Caesar to reach out to me to, see if I would be up to doing a song with them. And, and then from there, I discover who they are and go, oh my God, I've been missing out, how incredibly talented Anderson is and Daniel. And, to work with Daniel in particular, for him to be the kind of singer, songwriter he is, for him to just get R&B and to continue, contributing to such quality, great music. I was just like, wow, thank you for calling me. Thank you for, having me a part of, such an amazing record. And then the record we did was also nominated for a Grammy. So all of that, I was like, what is going on? I'm just here to do a verse. I'm here to, kind of figure things out. But it just, people really loved Love Again and loved, the chemistry between Daniel and I. And shout out to Begging and Pleading. That song, I was going through it. I was like, I got to do something different. I got to sing something else. And so I was able to come up with something like that. So thank you. Yeah.
No, it was beautiful. And, you're making me think, and I'm going back to the Babyface quote, because when you came out, you were young. You were young.
Singing was all I had going for me. It was really the only thing that I felt confident about. I have, such a great mentor in my father. He really nurtured me, nurtured my instrument. He kept me, inspired and always, listening to what could help my voice get better and stronger. And, when you keep doing something over and over, you start to build that confidence. And I think from there, I was able to put my heart and soul into, anything that I was able to sing. I made a rule that I wouldn't sing anything that I didn't feel. And from there, I was able to step into my light and really do what I was meant to do. And of course, you're super young, so you go through your ups and downs with it. Sometimes you could, feel insecurity some days, but, my foundation, I would say, was really solid, just from having a good dad and having, good mentors around me to help me continue to grow into my own artist, vessel.
And what would be your best advice for any young woman, looking to have longevity, in a long, healthy career, who you've always been able to just pivot and grow and reinvent and just continuously be there, and be there for your fans. And that's never been a struggle for you. But for so many, young artists, young creatives, just even getting their first break, can be a lot. So what advice do you have for them?
I would have to say that I have had, a lot of struggles. With anything in life, there's going to be, pros and cons. I think staying true to yourself, first of all, finding out what what your truth is, what your what your worth, your value, all of that is super important, because this industry can, strip you from that if you don't know who you are. And I think it's important for you to know who you are. I think it's important for you to educate yourself on the kind of industry that you're going to, share your talent in. And I also feel like keeping people around you that are not afraid to hurt your feelings, people around you that that uplift you, but at the same time, keep you grounded.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. And to do everything from an inspiration, place. I think that's important.
Speaking of inspiration, one other song that really caught my attention is the Bye Bipolar. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that? I mean, I was expecting one thing, and then when I heard it, I was like, okay, this is something different. But I literally I just took it for literal meaning, and I like the play on words.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's about a dude that put you through it. Mm-hmm. So but tell us the inspiration behind it.
Well, it's something that I think us as women, we go through maybe a relationship that that hurts you to the core. I mean, I was in a situation, and I'm actually speaking of a couple situations in that particular song. Just my relationship with love, it didn't feel like love, and I felt like for me, when something at that time, when it didn't feel like love, it felt like it turned me against my own nature. It turned me against just how I would prefer to act and feel when it comes to being in love with someone, being loving towards myself. And I just had a real rough time, and I used, again, my music to help me through that situation. And I feel like, even though the title is what it is, if you really listen to the song, I think even if you haven't experienced it, you can hear my heart, you can hear my pain and just my suffering in that particular song. But it's in the past, which is a great thing for me,
Isn't it so nice to get there?
Yeah.
To go down and just say, okay, I really made it.
And then to learn who you are and who you would prefer be, and how nothing like that, I feel like nothing like that will ever happen for me again, because I've learned boundaries for myself. I've learned how to take care of myself. I learned that, self-love is really what I've been looking for all my life. And I've, looked for it in the wrong places. And you can't love anybody unless you love yourself. And I've really learned that the hard way. And so I have a love for myself now, to the point where it's like, I don't want to see nobody else right now. I'm not trying to go down that road. It's like, I don't want nobody to have my phone number. I don't want to go out on a date,
You're good.
Yeah, I'm really good. My mom always says, but God is going to bless you. Somebody going to pop up and you're going to be like, and I'm like, well, I'm open to what God has for me, but I'm definitely not, my eyes are not open to anyone right now. Just staying focused on me and my daughter.
Speaking of your daughter, I was going to say what, and I'm taking a love question from Charlie.
I was like, Corey,
I'm sorry,
but get out my lane.
What do you teach your daughter about love?
Yes.
And loving herself first?
Well, that's what I teach her, is that, is that loving herself first, keeping God first is the number one priority. I'm trying to set the example for trusting the gut. I feel like the gut is just a special voice that we ignore most of our lives. So just trying to help her trust that. And she has nothing to prove to anyone. She needs to follow her heart. She needs to stay true to who she is and listen to her mama.
Always. Your twin. Oh my God.
Yes.
So what do you talk to her about in terms of being a Black woman in the world, right? Because we've been all thinking so much right now about our Blackness. right, in this world and what that means. And, you know, we're magical and amazing, but we're also fragile, and it's rough, you know, to be a Black woman in the world, no matter what. And how do you feel as a Black woman in the world right now? And what would you say to your daughter?
You know, I feel like, of course, with everything that's going on, I think we're all just completely blown away, completely frazzled. But I feel like there is a foundation within us. Like you said, there's a magic within us that I feel like we can overcome anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like my daughter can connect with that. You know, she is so proud to be a Black young lady. She's proud to have a Black mother. She's proud to be Black in general. And it is just, it's such a beautiful time to feel like that, you know, and I'm just glad that she's on that path. And I'm glad that she has so many great examples to look to, not just me, but my mother, and, you know, just who she's been able to look at as examples. It's just, it's been great to share this time with her, you know.
I love that.
Thank
You two are such a beautiful mother-daughter duo to watch. And Brandy, we love seeing you as a mom, you know, and thank you for always just being there for your fans. Thank you for B7. I think that's big for all of us when we say thank you. And this is right on time.
New music. You gave me what I wanted. You gave me what I wanted.
Okay. And 2020 tried it, but this has been a little blessing that we needed so badly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you.
It's really good to see you, Corey. I know we go way, way, way back.
Way, way back.
I always, you know, have love when I see you, and just good to see you again.
No, good to see you. That made me feel. Thank you.
We didn't mention it when we first saw each other, but I just want you to know that, I mean, I always know exactly who you are when I see you.
Corey,
thank you.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay, stop. I'm gonna cry. Okay.
I know, I'm like feeling all the Brandy. Oh my God, you're such a sweetheart.
Thank you.
Love you, and I love the album. I really do love it. I want to talk about Rather Be.
Yeah.
I love No Tomorrow.
Thank you.
I can go Lucid Dreams.
Lucid Dreams. Yes.
I love Borderline too.
Oh, that's Borderline. Thank you. That's my favorite song on the album.
Oh, it is.
I'm not gonna say it's in my top 5, but kind of.
It's such a vibe, and I feel your growth, and you know, and as a woman, right? Like everything you're saying, we know when we get there, right? When we get on the other side, and it just comes through, and it's just everything that we needed right now.